So how many of you have fallen for this myth that you have to have millions of dollars in the bank in order to retire? How many of you have been discouraged knowing that you're never going to get that kind of money put together? It's too late. You can't save that much. Now what are you supposed to do? Well, I can tell you, a lot of people fall for this one, and we're going to discuss and go through some of these myths today and explain why it's truly can be a myth. So the facts are that the real cost of living is not as high as people want you to believe that it is. That you don't need to have $1 million in the bank in order to survive and retire. Unless, of course, that's the only money you have. That means you're not going to get Social Security, pensions, you don't have any other investments. All you have is 401k money. Well, then you better have $1 million. But if the truth is that most people have diverse portfolios of income, and they're not counting on just what they have personally saved. We're all banking, or at least hoping, that we're going to get some Social Security money to help us get through retirement. And some of the ways that you can look into saving some money is to worry about what your real expenses are. What does it cost you to go to work, and then how much of that is going to be able to be saved by not going to work? You're not going to be paying for lunches anymore outside of, going out for expensive lunches. If you're one of those executives, you're not going to have the expense of driving back and forth to work. You may even, if you're married, be able to go down to one car instead of having two cars. So now you're going to save on insurance as well. So what it really comes down to then is you need to explore what your real expenses are going to be and what you're going to save by not being at work anymore, not driving back and forth, not buying suits or fancy dresses for work, and then see what your real costs are going to be. One of the things I say all the time on this channel, and what I want people to think about, is that all you have to do is use common sense math and make good decisions based on your income and your budget and make sure they mix. And if you can find ways to save money in your budget, you're going to do okay. And that's important to think about. I can say for a fact that my wife and I are probably going to save $100 a month as soon as she's no longer teaching, just because that's what we spend on printing, for ink, for our printer and paper that my wife has to do because she can't print everything off at work, even though it's part of the work that she's expected to do. So we spend, $100 a month on average between ink for two printers and paper. So that's a savings that we didn't think about, that, you can probably find some of those in your savings and in your living expenses as well. All right, another piece of this myth is when it comes down to compounding interest and how much money you can actually make just by saving a little bit and being consistent with it. And you can really make your dollars go a long way if you start early and start doing it often. And I stress this a lot with, especially with my kids, because I don't want them to get to a point where they don't have any money, they don't think they can save. Because you can, even if it's just $30 a week. Now, I did some math for that, and $30 a week, just making an average of 5% a year on it, will still get you $137,000 after 35 years of savings. Now, I know that doesn't seem like much, and it's not. However, imagine when you start to make more money and you do double that and do $60 a week. Now you're going to change your money into closer to $300,000 because of the compounding interest. Or if you can do $50 a week or $100 a week, that $5,000 a year, basically $52,000 a year, $5,200 a year, can turn into $500,000 in 35 years. And that's what the average person works anyway. If you start working at 30, I started at 30 in the job I'm at. If I worked till 65, that would be 35 years. If I started at 25, I'd have that by 60. Etc. So you can do the math on your own. There's a great calculator on NerdWallet that you can go on to, and it'll give you an idea how your money can compound, how much you can save. You kind of set a target in there, what you hope to put in weekly or monthly or annually, and then and just put in a modest return on it, and it'll give you some real-time numbers to think about. All right, let's go on to the third piece of this. And that's about having smart saving strategies beyond just what you're putting in for investment portfolio. And one of the key things I think that everybody should have is two emergency funds. The first one is for a real emergency, just happened, your car broke down, it's going to be $1,000. Do I have $1,000 in my savings account that I can get, or $1,000 in cash? We keep $1,000 in cash in the house at all time. Not, hopefully the robbers and criminals don't hear this, but you get my point. I want to have cash on hand if something happens. That's it. Now, our second is a long-term emergency fund, which should be anywhere from 3 to 6 months minimum. And the more you have, the better, obviously. But you want this in available funds, not where you have to go to somebody who's holding your money, where your investment advisors or whatever are at. I'm talking about something in a high-yield savings account possibly, or in a high-yield money market account, something that you can write a check on or use a debit card to get your money if you need it. And that also goes to another piece of this puzzle, and since we mentioned advisors, is that you have a diverse forms of investment. You need to diversify as much as you can, and you need to use a tax advisor and a financial advisor to do that. I've said this many times. I'm not a money person. I don't manage money for other people. I barely manage my own money. So I'm just giving you, the advice that I would tell you to go to see your financial planner and help them, or let them help you diversify your money a little better. And you can also think about running into different forms of income that you can use to diversify. And that can include using rental properties or real estate or Turo to rent your car out. If you have 2 cars and you only use one, rent the other one out, make some side money. You could get a side job to invest in different things, possibly get in gold and all that kind of stuff. So look for other ways to diversify your income besides just investment properties or just your portfolio, because there's lots of ways you can make a little extra money and try to make it work for you. So when it comes right down to it, talk to your financial advisor, get good advice for that. And I hope you understand now that you don't need to have millions of dollars to retire comfortably. That's just something that has been said for so long, and with inflation and the market and the real economy, that situation that's happening right now, I understand why people get worried about it. But that's also why you need to make sure you plan well, save consistently, and make smart money decisions. Every time you make a purchase, you should be asking yourself, is this moving me toward my goal or away from my goal? Is this going to affect my real life income from now on? Do I want to make car payments? Do I want to have a big mortgage payment? All those things make a difference when you're talking about having a comfortable retirement and making it successful and having your money last forever. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.